Focusing on the lives, experiences, and viewpoints of motherlode women, the show features a rotating cast of 4 women of all ages and from all walks of life. Quick, upbeat, and fast-paced with a variety of topics, this one-hour show will be aired live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8:30 a.m. Tune in, it's Just Between Us.
Good morning and welcome to Just Between Us. We're ready to go for you this morning. My name is Susie. I'm from Volcano.
I'm Sandy from Jackson.
I'm Sarah from Jackson.
And Sarah is with us today. Sarah's usually behind the scenes. She runs this joint here and runs everything.
Sort of, with many other crew members.
Yeah, absolutely. But Sarah's new to our family, and we're bringing her out today and putting her on this side of the camera. Let her sweat a little bit like we do. But thank you for being with us.
You're very welcome.
You've got 2 beautiful children.
I do.
And thank you for co-hosting with me this morning on AM Live. You did a great job.
Yes, you did.
Well,
Very,
thank
very
you.
good.
I was a little not knowing. This I know.
Yes, you know. No, you did a great job. We're going to pick 2 topics, and let's get started, kids.
Okay. Roll the dice, and I'll just pick.
There you
got
go.
one.
I'll just pick the Uno, huh? Mm-hmm. I have to see, because I can't anymore. Being respectful. Do you feel as a society we have become more respectful or less respectful in our daily dealings with others?
Okay, and the next one?
And the
Sarah, give her
you
a
have to
roll.
roll
to-
again.
2.
Overstepping your bounds. Oh, hello. Do you feel that sometimes overstep your bounds knowing full well you are doing it? Oh, this is going
Oh,
to
absolutely.
yeah.
Hey, we're going to take a short break.
Well,
Don't
that
go
didn't
away.
do
We're
that.
going to be right back.
Just Between Us, a spontaneous, intuitive live television show with topics that are intended to inspire, delight, educate, and encourage.
Welcome back to Just Between Us. And Sandra, our first topic?
Being respectful, or whatever. Do you feel as a society we've become more respectful or less respectful in our daily dealings with others?
I think it depends on the situation. I think people are more lax today, and maybe they forget sometimes to be respectful for certain things. It's like, you see it a lot in politics. You know, they make jokes or they say terrible things about someone. If you don't respect the person, that's okay, but respect the office and at least have respect for that.
It's awful hard to respect an office when the person in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
No, I totally understand that. But the thing is that we're not going to agree with everybody all the time. And I think that being respectful, like I disagree with that person's policy, or I disagree with the way that they're doing things or whatever, but at least have the courtesy to say, you know, whatever.
Yeah, you'd be respectful, but you still have your opinion.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, I respect person's opinion and their rights to speak those opinions, but I want the same reciprocation.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because that's the one thing I notice a lot, especially in politics or social programs.
Right.
Some people, they have an agenda.
Oh,
And
sure.
anybody who counters their agenda, they're not allowed to speak it.
Yeah.
Because they're this or that or whatever.
Oh,
They have
well,
all the adjectives you can come up with.
Absolutely. If you disagree with certain things, you're either a racist, you're either a loon, you're either, whatever, and they put a label on you. But heaven forbid if you should do that to them. And most of those people that are so like that, they're nothing but bottom feeders anyway, when you think about it. I mean,
just trying
they're
to get to the top.
opportunists. They are opportunists. Whatever it is, the norm, they're going to take the opposite view because they want attention. And basically, they're bottom feeders. They just have no value when it comes to, being productive and saying something that's productive. If you talk to somebody, and instead of them going on a rant and calling people names or whatever, after a while, you turn those type of people off. You get no response, and people just look at you like you're crazy. But if you turn around and you say, well, I know that person and I really like them, but I disagree with what they feel, people will listen to you much more and give you at least some credence and respect for the right that you have to speak.
Yeah.
So going away from politics, how about in the family respect? I mean, because I was noticing with like Disney shows and commercials nowadays that they're putting the dads, especially the dads, as these like, they're almost simple-minded in a sense.
I know.
And so I mean, the respect for your parents, for kids nowadays have changed versus the...
That kind of started, I think, in the mid-'70s or
80s,
early '80s,
Yeah,
where the father also became the buffoon.
Yeah.
Except for Cosby. You know,
Right.
Cosby was a good father model. I mean, I loved the Cosby
Yeah.
Show. It was wholesome. Everybody could watch. It's not that I'm a prude, but you get tired of it after.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
If
I
you
mean-
want to watch HBO or some of the, you know, the
Sure,
Stars
sure, you have
or
a right
whatever,
to
that's,
do that.
That's fine. But you know, I grew up back in the 50s. Well, you did too. Well, Father's Knows
I'm
Best,
older, yeah.
and Leave It to Beaver,
Right.
and the Donna Reed
Today,
show.
Leave It to Beaver takes on a different
Different
show. It's a different
connotation,
show.
yeah. But I mean, both mothers and fathers worked together to raise the family. They both were
Yeah, it's
respectful.
yeah.
You know, and matter of fact, Donna Reed, when she started her show, it was revolutionary because she wore pants and she cleaned the house in pants, not in the dress like Mrs. Cleaver did with
See,
the
I
pearls.
I don't
you
remember
know.
that. I always remembered her in a dress.
No, she actually had
I
like.
remember Mary Tyler Moore wearing slacks.
Yeah, but Donna Reed started it.
She
was,
did?
Yeah, she did. And then there, Laura Petrie wore slacks,
Yeah.
capris. You know,
Yeah.
of course, she had a body to wear capris. But I mean, and things like that. But I mean, it was more realistic. I mean, early 50s, it was unrealistic.
But the thing
It
is,
was-
is it realistic for us to want to go back to that since everything else has changed today? I mean,
No.
advertising has changed. It's like when the wife comes home and she walks in the kitchen and it's a total disaster. Now, come on, that is just not. It makes a man look like he can't take care of
No,
his kids. He can't make a pancake.
Yeah, and
or
it's
whatever.
not that way at all. I mean, a lot of the parent roles have switched. I mean,
Absolutely.
my husband cooks; he loves to cook.
Yeah.
I'm not so fond of it. I mean, there's these mutual things. I mean,
See, and I
as
think
a
that's great.
generation raising nowadays. I mean,
Right.
it's the family life has changed completely, but we
Right.
still have to respect the roles that we both
Well,
were
it's like
playing, and
my-
not. Yeah.
My dad was a house husband because simply his health reasons. He was much older
Sure.
than my mother. I was like, and Mom worked and Dad cooked. You know, of course, everything was fried. It's amazing I have any arteries, but I mean, it's you know. But he cleaned the house and he did everything, and it you know.
Yeah, I think that there needs to be more respect for parents as role models, especially the male.
Yeah, and especially in media.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
media is just. I mean, the moms have became this very strong figure, which is great.
Yeah.
But the dads, I mean,
You're right,
like in these
like
commercials,
a buffoon, like a
yeah, and you're
buffoon.
like,
Yeah.
I mean, the one show that's popped in my head is the Wizards of Waverly Place. The dad is always making mistakes, and the daughter's always walking over him. The mom's always fixing mistakes, and it seems like all of these
Yeah,
shows.
that wouldn't happen in a
yeah,
real
no,
home.
No,
Trust
and
me.
these
Well,
kids
not
are raised
my
that way.
home.
we have to move on to our next topic, my dear. That was fast.
Overstepping your bounds. Do you feel that you sometimes overstep your bounds knowing full well you are doing it? Oh, yeah.
Oh, I think we all do.
Depends on the person.
Human
I
nature.
do it. I tend to try to boss other people. It's just, I blame it on my mother. It's a genetical thing. And because my mother was the exact same way.
No, I think when
You know
we get
better.
I think when we get older, I think we have a tendency to be more outspoken and stepping across that line. I think that's just human nature sometime. I don't
Well,
know.
especially when you have like a really good girlfriend who's really naive. I mean,
Dumb is the word that
no,
you're
she's
looking
not
for.
dumb, just naive with
Yeah.
the way the world is.
Yeah.
You know, they haven't lived in
And you get
the
kind of
so-called
kind of
world.
frustrated sometimes with them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just, you know, you sit there and finally I just unbite the tongue and
Yeah.
charge right
Now,
in.
see, you're busy raising 2 kids, working, your husband's working.
Yeah.
So you probably don't care about overstepping your bounds.
No, it's. I mean, there's things where, yeah, most definitely you overstep your boundaries with your kids' safety. I mean, you have
Oh,
to speak up
sure,
for that.
sure.
But to tell you the truth, otherwise, I'm like, that's your business.
Because I've never had children, you know, dogs,
You've got,
cats.
you've got 4-legged kids.
Yeah, I got 4-legged kids. However, I see kids now with the so-called rights. When I was in school or even growing up, I had no rights.
No.
I was.
Oh,
they
no.
owned me to 21 in those days.
Yeah.
You know, there was 18 wasn't even legal, and I'm sitting there. But do you know, bedrooms were not sacrosanct. You know, drawers were not sacrosanct.
Right.
She could go through anything. There was no privacy. You couldn't call anybody. You know, there was no.
Well, let's look at this. I know where you're going with
Did
this.
they go too far?
Okay. You
That's
know,
what I
I
wanna
think
know.
it depends on the kid, and
Yeah.
I think it depends on the situation. If your kid is running amok and you have no control, you have to take control. If you give your kid too much control, then
good example, Columbine,
Yeah.
those 2 kids. in the bedroom with the door shut all the time,
Yeah,
on
you
the
have to-
computer and stuff. I think that what has happened in many respects, I think parents are so busy, both parents working, that I think a lot of times they want to come home, they want to be the friend and not the parent.
Yes.
And like my daughter and my son-in-law both say, we are your friend, but we're mom and dad first, and never forget that. You know, what I say goes. And I think that what it is that we have become, I think that parents do a great job today. I think that it's so much different than when we were. We were seen and not heard. Whereas
that's
today,
true.
children are allowed to speak, and they're allowed to do certain things that we were never allowed to do. But then you have to sit and you have to weigh. What are the kids like today as compared to the kids in the 60s and 70s? You know,
Well,
that's,
everything's relevant to the time, but
yeah.
you know,
But we've come a long way.
And teenagers are no different. Teenagers per
Yeah.
se, no different than they were when we were teenagers.
No.
Today, they still get the eyeball rolling, and they still have,
Well, yeah.
where parents want to look out, take out the life insurance policy and want to know if it's worth it, and of course in L.A. there was a lot of places you could never bought it. True. And my mother did seriously think of it a few times, but I just was wondering if we give the kids, because of the fear of being the kids dropping a dime. Kids can drop a dime now.
Oh,
All
yeah.
these social say
Oh,
my
yeah.
parents are doing this, they can report
sure.
their parents.
Oh,
I mean,
hugely. But I mean, some of the parents are going against that and putting up. Like one guy, the daughter was going against what the parents were saying on Facebook, and the dad took her computer and filmed him breaking the computer. Yeah,
right. I
And
remember that one.
And I mean, maybe that's taken it a little bit too far. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know the whole story,
Well-
but still, parents need to have control.
there's nothing that says you have to let your kid have Facebook.
No.
Or an iPhone.
No.
Or even a cell phone.
And don't you find that parents, like a new gadget comes out and one kid gets it and boy, we got to keep up, we got to do this and
And
that.
if you think about it in the future, you have to prepare your kid for the
Absolutely.
for
but there
the
could be
world.
limits. I mean, it's like, I have a cell phone. Not an iPhone. I have a cell phone. All it does is I say hello, and I can take a picture on it. And I finally figured out how to download it. But it's just a regular phone because I don't care.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't
But see,
care
that's-
because
that's
I
our
don't have
generation.
Facebook. I don't have Facebook.
Right, that's
I'm
our
not on it.
generation.
Well, it's not only that, it's I just don't care.
Yeah.
There's nothing that says that you have to allow your kid to have a Facebook. You can monitor that
yeah.
stuff.
Well, they have a new
You can
device
don't
now
buy that plan.
But I
on
mean,
the
if
little
it-
computers that you could set a time.
Oh yeah, the new Kindle
And-
Fire,
and-
yeah, and it
and they
turns
turn off.
But
We
when your
have-
kid gets
we get-
older, they're gonna know how to do all that.
Yeah.
So-
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I
We
don't-
got to pick two new topics, kid.
Oh,
We got a
okay.
free-for-all number one, and then we've got a topic.
And two more other topics are your ego.
Okay? That's the only one you need.
Oh,
We're
okay,
going to
right.
do the free-for-all.
Okay. What's your definition of an inflated ego? And then a free-for-all.
Okay. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
Just Between Us, a spontaneous, intuitive live television show with topics that are intended to inspire, delight, educate, and encourage.
And tax it.
Welcome back, and we're getting ready to discuss.
I love
Was
it.
it your ego?
Your ego. What is your definition of having an inflated ego? I can say two words. Anthony Weiner.
Yeah.
That guy has to have he's still running. He has to have the most inflated ego.
Well, he's in fourth place now. Am I correct?
Well, I know he's dropped in the polls.
Yeah.
I don't know who's running against him.
That's the only thing that's dropped. Obviously, he's still on that phone. He's still on that blasted phone and carrying on. Sorry,
gosh.
Sarah.
No, you're
so
fine.
young. I didn't want.
My virgin ears.
Yeah, there you go. Well, that's all right. At least we got something. That somebody's got something virgin here. What do you think,
A
honey?
bottle of olive oil would work, I guess,
I don't know. I'm trying to think of something, and I'm kind of drawing a blank.
Is it
so.
somebody that has to go out and be braggadocious and tell everybody what they've done,
I think, yeah.
or is that somebody that
It's
really
Twitter.
has?
It's Twitter.
There you go. Twitter, Facebook,
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah,
I don't even know
I
what
do this.
Twitter is.
Oh man, it's a great social media until you find out like people are eating something and
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good example and
It's
there's
about
one
the
that-
me
yeah,
syndrome.
the me and yeah, the me and this would be better for me, and all of.
Do you think, though, do you think that it inflated, people that you think that have an inflated ego, do you think that maybe they're hiding behind the fact that they are insecure in certain areas?
Sometimes. Although I got to admit, people with inflated egos usually do very well in their chosen field because they sell themselves real well, like the Donald Trumps of this
A
world.
lot of it's called BS.
It is.
That's
but
exactly
it's,
it.
people buy into it.
Yeah.
Now, for me or you or we can listen to these people, and they're like, my God, they're like used car salesmen. But people just are. They also usually have charisma.
and confidence.
Very much, yeah. But they often are behind the scenes, not very confident. Or they're
different-
usually two different people. They're
And-
like a split personality.
Right, and then when let's say when the camera's off or when their mic's unplugged or whatever, they go into this mode like they're not people. People.
If you see people the way they really, really are, especially actors, who I had a lot
Actors.
of I had a lot
You
of
had a lot of contact with LA.
actors and actresses.
Yeah.
Because of where I worked. But when you see them when they're away from the
natural
general
state.
the public.
Right.
Okay. Say, because we help run golf tournaments for celebrities for the police department. When they came into that celebrity tent and they were just confronted with us, the worker bees, and the public was on the other side of that tent.
Different
They're
personality?
Different personalities.
Some more so, some down
Yeah,
to
some
earth.
people that you would think would have the inflated ego and be really demanding and prima donnas, male or female prima donnas, didn't have them. And these were big name stars. I'm talking like Nicholson and Pesci, and they were the nicest people. It was the lower people.
I hear that Joe Pesci
Yeah, the
and
people-
Jack Nicholson, when the camera's off, they're the nicest people.
Oh, they are.
Down
They're
to
very
earth
nice.
people.
But you're still looking in Jack Nicholson's eyes. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, those eyes never change.
Yeah, you always
But-
think he's going to say, "Here's Johnny."
I know, but when you see them away from their public, and when they go back outside that tent and go into the public where they sign autographs or whatever like that, it's like a switch. They turn on.
Well, I think you would have to be, especially in that field, to have that because
Charisma.
that charisma, and then also
Yeah.
the change. So, when you're at your personal home, you're almost that is your work. So if you're getting criticized on that person, the one at home is not that person.
I
So-
see it also in people who were like the mayors and stuff.
Political figures have to have egos.
Or even heads of department have egos because they're
They
running.
have to, in a way, though, a political figure, because they're out there and like you said, they have to sell theirself.
Or
and-
sell whatever department that
Right.
to keep the taxpayers happy because they're spending a lot of
Absolutely.
money on these people and stuff like that. Those people, actually, sometimes I wish I have an inflated ego in the sense that maybe I could have done better and promoted higher or whatever. I never
Yeah, but
pushed
you
my.
did well.
But I never pushed myself. I could have done better. I had the brain
Well,
power. I
I
just
think-
never utilized
I think
it.
when we're young like that, and
It was easy. I went the easier
we're
route.
comfortable. It's like a pair of comfortable slippers. You're thinking about buying a new pair, moving up, and then you think, nah, let me just keep these for a little while longer. I think that because we were raised much differently, that we have a job, we bring home a paycheck, our life's done.
Yeah,
Basically,
yeah.
that's how it was for the women of our era.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of us, until later when we decided to either go back to school or decided to do something totally different and excel. But at the time, it was like, you went to college to get your MRS degree.
So I didn't even go to college because
Yeah,
I
I
went
didn't
right
go.
from high school into a job.
Right.
And it was so funny. I was making some. My mom was a waitress. My dad was dead. My mom was a waitress. She was working and a housekeeper, cleaner, and she was working all these different jobs just to make ends meet. And here I start with the city of Los Angeles with medical benefits, which we
Right.
never had any medical benefits.
Sure.
We didn't have
Sure.
insurance.
So look what you achieved.
Yeah, and so that was pretty good.
You bet.
And entry level was $416 a month before taxes.
There you go.
That was a lot of money in 1968.
You better
let me tell
believe
you.
it.
And
That
more money
was.
I ever saw.
Yeah, because I think
20
years later, I started out at the bank at $650, and I had 2 children. So I know exactly what
Yeah.
you're saying. We have to move on to our first free-for-all, which you want to talk about the Fort Hood
Yeah,
trial.
to me, it's an interesting trial if you look at it, the legal perspective of it. But what you're looking at is a farce. This is the most stupidest thing, this defense that he's putting on.
Oh, he's wasting a lot of money.
Oh, they've already wasted $4 million.
Right.
And here, the victims of Fort Hood can't even collect anything from the government because they're calling it a workplace violence
That's
instead of a
ridiculous.
military thing. You're on military property.
First of all, this man stated that he hates America. He was here to protect the Al-Qaeda faction.
Yes, that's why I
and
shot
he
him.
yelled Ali Ali Akbar, whatever it is.
Allah Akbar.
Ali
Yeah.
Ali oxen free, whatever he says. When he shot 19 people, excuse me, that man's a terrorist.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's getting his due process like we do here, and he's getting everything afforded to him. And now these defense attorneys are saying, oh, well, this man, he's on a suicide mission or whatever. Bye-bye, go.
Well,
Who
the thing that
cares?
gets me is, and I can understand it, because he's not guilty of anything. He hasn't been charged.
Absolutely.
He hasn't been found guilty. However, he's still being paid $220,000
Yeah.
a
Are
year.
you serious?
Yes, he's still,
Yeah,
for the
he's
last 4
still-
years, he's been
yeah.
in jail. He's being paid $220,000 a year. That was his salary as a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Wow.
They didn't even put it like in an escrow account, into a trust.
No,
So
or
he's
something in
he's
case-
getting that
He's
while
still
he's
getting
getting
that money.
while he's
yes.
going through trial. That's just ridiculous. You think that they would just cut that off? I mean,
Well, no, they can't cut it off,
Uh-huh.
but they could defer it
Mm-hmm.
to the trial's over with, and then if he was guilty or not guilty. If he was not guilty,
Then
he would get
get a
the
lump sum.
money.
But in his
if he was
opening,
guilty, then it was.
But in his opening statement, he'll say the evidence will show that I did murder these people.
He did.
And,
He'd said that.
You know what? To me, game over.
yeah, that's
Well,
Okay, now what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's acting his own defense, although they do have somebody there to
Right.
back him up on the legal principles.
This is all leading up to what we call a bunch of BS, and then we'll have to have this process all over again because he really didn't. It's just crazy.
And the thing is, he's, regardless of whatever, they're going for the death penalty, which has never, the last time I think anybody's been executed by the military
in
is
the-
62 or something.
yeah, it was in the 60s, I believe.
And the thing is, he's in a wheelchair. He's been partially paralyzed, I believe, from
Right.
people shooting him at the time of the incident.
Right.
We're paying for all his medical.
Yeah.
The people are forgetting that. We're taking care of him medically.
and
And we'll be up to
And I believe it was uncovered, I could be wrong, and I might be speaking out of turn, but some of the money that he was making in a salary was funding terrorists. He was sending it to them.
I believe, yeah. But the thing is, I heard yesterday that it was known he was a jihadist.
Right.
The Army knew,
Yeah.
and DOD knew, and Homeland Security
Knew.
knew that he was contacting and doing things to them, and they did absolutely nothing to
to prevent this.
to prevent it. Yeah.
Wow.
And if he shot the soldiers, the military personnel, and everybody he saw, because he wanted to prevent them going overseas to shoot quote
Al-Qaeda.
unquote Al-Qaeda or his terrorist
Taliban, whatever.
Taliban or whomever, to me that's not a workplace incident.
No,
that's
it's
not
not.
military.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And these people should get full benefits.
Oh, yeah.
Their families
Well, they're
should-
suing, but there is
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
doing a lawsuit.
As they should. I mean, these were American soldiers killed on. It's no different than
our ground.
they tried to pull a lot of this on at 9/11 and a lot of other things.
At
I'm
the
sorry.
At the Pentagon, they had to sue to get military benefits for survivors or the injured
Right.
from the Pentagon from 9/11 because that was a workplace incident.
You think that it's just common sense. I mean, it's
No,
just,
it's-
But that's the
it's-
problem
no,
with
the
our government. That's the
is
problem.
no,
with
it's a common
No.
sense.
No, we don't have common sense. They will spend money
prevent it.
stupidly, and go out and spend over 100 and 200,000 to determine the sex of ducks and show you how to do that.
and then drinks, alcohol drinks.
Seriously, that's exactly what they spent
Oh, yeah.
money on. And wanting to know why lesbian women are more overweight than straight women. I mean,
Instead of taking care of their own
you know
people.
what?
I mean, that's
all
a
this
tragedy.
money, we've got homeless people and hungry people on the street, veterans, mind you. this money could take care of
Oh,
these
yeah.
people. It's disgusting.
Yeah, and the money that goes into the Veterans Administration is ridiculous. There's no reason why we have to buy wheelchairs for them, or the Wounded Warrior Program, as great as it is, shouldn't have to exist to
No,
help these
none
people.
of them should.
No.
These people should have everything given to them, and it just doesn't make sense. Okay, we've got one more free-for-all, and what's our last topic, Sandy?
Manners.
Ah,
3.
Do you feel as a society we have lost the practice of having good manners?
and then we've got another free-for-all we're going to be talking about, so we're going to take a very, very short break. Thank you for staying with us, and we're going to be right back.
Just Between Us, a spontaneous, intuitive live television show with topics that are intended to inspire, delight, educate, and encourage.
All right, y'all. I'm Susie from Volcano.
Hi, Sandy from Jackson.
Sarah from Jackson.
All right, you know why they're laughing? I'm going to tell you why. We were talking about body shapes, and I bought these undergarments that had like a little air puffs for the culo, so you have cheeks. And I sat down and one popped and it went really loud, and the other one got a slow leak, and I was sitting like this, and it was going. It was a disaster. I went in and I threw them in the garbage, and I think I was in a restaurant when it happened. So never again. I said I'll just keep no cheeks and go on. So now you know why we're laughing. All right. Our next topic is,
Manners.
and we don't have any with that story, but it's funny.
Do you feel as a society we have lost the practice of having good manners?
What do you think, Sarah? Being a young mother, what do you think?
I think it depends on where you're at. I mean, because I see a lot of kids nowadays that have great manners. I mean, they say please, thank yous. They're very respectful. But then you go to another part of the community, which sounds horrible, but I mean, we go to a church that's in the families are working or they're not involved with their kids, and the kids are running amok. And so it's a completely different lifestyle and a completely different raised kids. And looking at that, it depends. It depends on where you're at. And
It's a parent.
I think,
Yeah.
I think, yeah, she's right. It depends. If you go into the major cities, kids don't have manners. But if you go into some of the small communities within the major cities,
yeah, they do.
they do. And I don't know if you can it depends on the schools also, private schools versus public schools. You know, I went to first 9 years of my life, I was in a Catholic school, which definitely
that.
manners were
Oh, yeah. huge.
drilled into you, you know, not only your parents, but, you know, the nuns.
I will say this, for the teenagers in Amador County, we have some of the greatest kids in Amador County.
We do.
And teenagers. Austin
Talk about
is
an
one.
inflated eagle.
Yeah, Austin's one. You can go into any store, and if there is a teenage kid there, they will open the door for you and let you go in, or if you're in an aisle or whatever, and you and I have the same thing, we're vertically challenged here. And I've had kids come up and say, "Ma'am, can I help you with that?" And I say, "Oh, sure, please, thank you." I have never run into a rude kid in Amador County
No,
today.
you're right. I usually hear it. But
So I
yes.
give the parents here in Amador County a lot of pats on the
Huge
back.
kudos.
They deserve it.
But you know where I notice lack of manners is on airplanes, especially when you're riding with children.
That's a hard situation anyway, because it's so
Well, they're
confined.
boring.
Yeah.
I know. I realize that.
Yeah.
But if
you
I
bring
get
up-
the
you-
back of a seat,
You bring a backpack and you put crayons, you put juice, you put whatever you're allowed to bring, funny books, color books, whatever. There's a lot of things to do to keep a kid busy on a flight.
Or you take them at nighttime. Let them sleep through.
Let
the
them
ride.
sleep through the thing. Another thing.
Xanax,
Yeah, they
duct tape. No, you can get arrested for probably duct tape.
There's a few restaurants, we were going to talk about this.
Yes.
There's a few restaurants now that are at a certain time in the evening, I think it's from 7 o'clock on, they're going to ban children because it's an adult time, and a lot of adults have complained that certain people that bring their children in don't mind. They throw food on the floor. They're loud, they yell, they cry, they run around, and it's upsetting. So, does that infringe on a certain rights or whatever? I don't know, because I don't know the law on that. I mean, it's their restaurant, they may
If
do
it's-
what they want.
They can, and if as long as it's posted. It's posted.
Because if they make you wear shoes and a
It's a
shirt
shirt.
and
It has to be
whatever.
it has to be posted.
It has to be posted. So I imagine they can do things of that nature. But I think that manners has to come from the home, from the parents. Because I know that with my grandkids, they started going out to dinner when they were little kids. And I could take them anywhere at 2 or 3 years old, and they went in, they sat, they never ran around, there was never any problem. If there was, Dad would yank them up and take them out and have a talk, and then they'd come back and everything would be fine. But I don't know. I don't think it's just kids, too. I see adults that have been getting by with rude behavior their whole life and have bad manners, and they're never going to change. You're not going to change people.
No, but then they pass the bad manners on down.
Absolutely.
That's the problem. I see it a lot I used to see it a lot, but once I moved up here, I don't see it as much. But I saw it in my workplace because the type of element I was coming up against. But yeah, I was taught to always cover my mouth if I coughed or sneezed.
Chew with your mouth
or,
shut.
That type of stuff. But I have friends who evidently they were never told to chew with their mouth closed.
All you got to do is watch an episode of Honey Boo Boo. That's all I got to tell you.
Carrie had that on the other day, and I'm sitting there going,
Listen to June. Just
do you
listen to-
notice it's subtitled?
Yeah, well, you have to, because you can't understand them.
I'm sitting there going, this is why people think the South is...
I have to tell you, a lot of people asked me if I watched it, and I said no. And Cam started laughing. He said, Susie, just watch one episode. They had a marathon of them, and I started watching him. I have never laughed and been so appalled in my whole life.
Can you imagine what that girl's going to be like, Honey Boo Boo, when she's like
older?
16?
Well, the one has already got and that baby is adorable. But you talk about, I don't know if it's, I don't know what you can call it. All I know is that I'm hooked. That family drives me up a
And
wall.
then there's Peanut who got hit by lightning.
Oh my gosh.
Or is that Chubbs?
Pumpkin. That's right.
These
Pumpkin.
names, I've never watched the show, but my niece is a
Oh, my God.
And Daddy is Sugar
Sugar Bear.
Sugar Bear, and he's always chewing tobacco.
Peanut, Chubbs. There's another one. I don't know. Honest to God, what a cluster
Now
mess.
the last episode I saw, unfortunately, was she was pouring over wedding.
There you go. She's getting married. She's doing the
She got
commitment.
married. As I saw the pictures
They're
online.
doing the commitment ceremony. She's wearing orange and camouflage. No kidding. Okay, next free for all. The talks between Putin and Obama. Obama has canceled them, stating that they're not quite ready to talk about certain things or whatever. Everybody's saying no. It's basically due to the
Snowden.
disrespect of giving Snowden this asylum and whatever. There's also talk of maybe canceling the Americans going to the Winter Olympics in Russia. Huh? So,
It didn't work all that well when Russia canceled and didn't come to our Winter Olympics.
no. And you know what?
They'll
Person-
just win more medals if we're not there.
There you go. Personally, I feel these kids work. The government doesn't fund our athletes, okay?
Not like other countries,
And they
yeah.
go through hell and back to get where they are, and their parents sacrifice so much. I
So
see it
much,
with my
yeah.
own kids, and money to get these kids to where they are. And I don't think that the government should cancel the
No.
Well,
Olympics.
it used to be the Olympics originally were started out, well, the modern Olympics, I should say. The modern Olympics were started out to be is a bridge of the people meeting other people from other countries,
Right.
building these bridges, all peace and harmony, yama, yama, yama. It's not that way anymore.
No.
It's, I mean, you go into some of these countries that their whole industry is the Olympics, like Russia. I mean, these people,
Sure, it brings in
millions.
thousands and
Rubles
thousands of
and
millions of money.
rubles.
Yeah.
And it's all political. And
Right.
the Olympics have become political. I mean, I
Oh,
think
absolutely.
it started probably in the 1938 when Jesse Owens.
Jesse Owens, right.
And to me, the Olympics are a joke. All it is another athletic competition. I don't even know why we bother with it, because
Well, I think
it doesn't do what it was designed to do, which is bring the countries together in a harmonious way.
Right.
That's not. It no longer does that. You know, after Munich, that's just
True.
That's just not there. And everything, and yeah, you might forge some, but it's all competition. It's, you know, who gets the best medal and who does this. It's, you know, it's not a friendly competition. It's a cutthroat competition.
But what's fun, what I enjoy about it is that you do watch and you do root for the red, white, and blue. I mean, I think it's fun.
Well, sure, I watched the only one and only hockey game I ever watched
was
the Miracle on Ice.
The Miracle on Ice, which was fantastic.
But what these athletes now are going for, American, I don't care what country you're from, but say the American athletes.
They're going for the big endorsements.
That's
Yeah.
right. They're going for the
right.
box of Kellogg's or whatever.
Right.
You know, and they're looking towards getting paid, because they're not getting paid.
Yeah.
They don't get living expenses, they don't get anything
But on the
when
other
they're
hand,
training.
Sandy, do you guys feel that a lot of these kids are good role models until they get caught doing something wrong, obviously, because they all do sooner
They
or
all
later.
do.
I mean,
They're-
look at Lance
they're human.
Armstrong, look at
Well, even Michael Phelps got
Michael
caught.
Phelps. Yeah, I mean, if it's not one thing, it's 10.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I still think that at the time, it encourages a lot of these kids to, hey, I want to try that, I want to do that.
Well, yeah, and going for athletics, but I'm sorry, in today's world, being a world skater or skier or runner, it's all fine and dandy. We need plumbers, electricians, engineers. I'd rather have my kid not go into sports. I'd rather have my kid go into where he can make a living till he's 65 years old and go on Social Security.
Oh, true.
If it still
Yeah, I mean,
exists.
sure, I understand that.
You know.
But it's still, I think it's still,
Because-
you're one of few that can
Can make
strive
it.
for that. And
Yes, but you're one of few who actually make money off of it.
Yeah, but
True.
there's a lot
Yeah.
of industry that's not just Olympics that do that. You look at the film industry.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah. Yeah,
But
all
I mean,
the
I think
people
it's
go
just
into Hollywood thinking they're going to become
Yeah.
a star.
yeah, and I mean it's few to none that actually make it. But I think it's all about the goal and the dream that those kids want to do. And so I mean, to take that away and say, well, you should just look at something to make money and a good living, which is great. You have to have that, but at the same time, the kids need to make a choice of, I really love this, and I'm going to pursue that. And to take that away for an
Yeah, but have a backup plan.
oh yeah, most definitely, yeah.
You know, a lot of them don't have that.
Yeah.
a lot of Olympians, though, what they do is that when they're done with doing the endorsements and when they're done, Bruce Jenner, for instance, he does motivational speaking.
Some of them do.
And some of them have gone and gotten their education after. Dorothy Hamill did a lot of motivational speaking. What's really interesting is, oh shoot, what the heck's her name? The pretty girl. Oh gosh, I just
What's Field?
ice skating.
I know who you're talking about, the Oriental girl?
No,
Oh.
no, the other. She won in the 60s, 70s.
Hamill? Dorothy
no,
Hamill?
No, 60s or 70s. Oh gosh, she had breast cancer, and she was a forefront. She was a speaker out there for breast cancer.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Gosh,
Peggy Fleming.
Peggy Fleming, and the whole thing. We're going to take a short break and hit you up with our hot topic.
It's Just Between Us, a spontaneous, intuitive live television show with topics that are intended to inspire, delight, educate, and encourage.
Welcome back, and we're ready for our hot topic. Our hot topic today is Washington State now wants to say, since they've made marijuana legal. Now they want to tax marijuana.
Right.
Okay.
They're trying to figure out how to tax it, and everybody's up in an uproar up there. And I'm thinking, fine, go ahead and tax it.
What did they think? They were going to get a free
But
ride?
I find it really, really interesting because eventually it's going to spread to the other states as, like California has made pot legal in the sense, medical marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
So what the theory is, I could see it taking it to the extreme where the state now was going to run the marijuana industry because they're going to have to control it, just like cigarettes.
So you
And booze, you're going to have the little stamp labels, and you have to pay a tax on that thing if you want the stuff. So anybody who grows marijuana is in violation of the tax laws, and they're not going to arrest you for the marijuana. They're going to arrest you for tax
tax
invasion.
Wow. Right.
And if the feds ever legalize marijuana, then it becomes a federal crime, and you have
But
revenuers.
now here's my question. If it's legal in a state, but it's illegal federally,
It's supposed,
You're-
Fed's supposed to top state laws.
So can they still go to jail since they're,
If it's illegal federally, yes, they can, if the feds so desire to implement the...
it depends on the amount, I think, isn't it, too?
I don't remember what the amount is, but it is illegal federally. Okay, as long as and Fed laws top
State laws.
State laws.
so, I mean,
So-
it's gambling no matter what, in a sense, or,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
it, and you're legalized in the state,
Okay,
but then
I'm
all of a sudden
legalized
federal
in the
comes in.
state, but if the feds come knocking at the
The
door,
then
I'm
you're in
illegal.
trouble.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, you're in trouble.
So once again, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is
This
doing.
is true. And the thing is, everybody's talking about medical marijuana. Well, there's a chemical that's in marijuana, that's the medical portion.
Right.
Which can be synthesized into a pill form.
Right.
So basically, you don't need to grow pot. Pharmaceuticals could make the thing, which would make it taxable.
But would it also make it more expensive for someone who has cancer to get
Probably.
the prescription
Sure,
versus growing
sure,
it at home? I mean,
Sure. But if they implement the tax, then if you grow it for your own personal
You're still
use,
getting
you're now in violation of the tax
tax.
laws, not the growing laws, which is a federal offense. But you're going the state tax laws, which is usually a longer term because people get really pissed off when they don't get their money.
Oh, you bet.
So it's a very interesting thing that's happening in Washington State. So if they can figure out how to tax these people and make it a law up there, and the other states go, look at the money that's starting to rack in. It's
They're
just
gonna
going to
open
go. It'll go to whatever other state has legalized.
Oh, that we can go
Because
from studying.
It's
We
becoming
can go from studying the sex of ducks. We can take in geese now and quail.
You know, and
Let's waste some more money.
So I think it's laughable because, everybody, a lot of people think marijuana, there's nothing problem with marijuana. Well, they've done a study. If you're a habitual marijuana smoker, they found out, gee, guess what? You can get lung cancer from smoking marijuana.
Yeah, and it
You
does
know,
deteriorate certain
so-
brain
brain cells, and if you're a habitual
it gives
user,
you like
your
it
brain
gives you
can't
like a
return.
form of dementia. I think if you
Yeah.
well, anything you abuse,
Oh, yeah.
food, booze, cigarettes,
Alcohol.
drugs, alcohol, anything that you abuse and anything you become addicted to where you have to have it on a daily basis,
Will pay its toll.
it's going to take its toll on your body. And people that do it are going to sit there and argue with you.
No, it doesn't, because I'm perfectly fine.
Yeah, no, you're not.
No,
But 20
you-
years from the road.
But the
Yeah,
problem
yeah.
is, just like alcohol, even if you have one drink, it all depends on your body weight and your body chemistry. One drink bombs me out. I mean,
Yeah.
one drink, you wouldn't think it, but it does. It bombs me out because I can't handle alcohol. I wouldn't put myself behind the wheel of a car.
No.
Because I know what happens to me just with one lousy drink.
Right.
You know?
You're like I am. I'm not.
I can't
I'm not
tolerate alcohol.
I can't either.
And so it's the same thing. If I say I smoked one joint, it probably would hit me like a ton of bricks because I wouldn't be, and then people get behind these wheels of cars.
Is it
or
illegal for them to get behind the wheel? I mean, is
Sure,
it the
sure,
same thing
yeah,
as?
yeah,
I
yeah,
think-
they place
yeah,
that in
I
there.
think that there's a guideline there. Isn't
Well,
there,
if you're
that-
pulled over and you say you've been smoking pot or something like that, and you're impaired, yeah, there's a vehicle code that covers
right.
that.
It's like alcohol.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
just
but-
like alcohol. It probably has a different little sub-note letter after
Yeah.
it, but yeah.
No, because I know, like going to college, there's a majority of people smoke pot, and so they're
Sure.
driving, they're doing all of this, and they're doing
Sure.
functioning in the everyday world. How do they know? I mean, do they,
They
pull them
They
over?
don't realize that. They don't realize. Well, you can.
You can smell it when
Well,
it's on
that-
them right away.
But a trained person who's like highway patrol, they can tell by how, and I'm sure you've seen it, if you see a car that's bouncing between that line and that line on a continuum, but never going over, but they
Yeah.
bounce back and forth, that's a suspicion. And they
Erratic-
would probably
erratic driving.
Erratic driving, and they would probably pull them over and make a determination.
So there's no machines that they're developing now
I
or
don't
anything
know.
like that?
I don't
I
know.
don't know if there's a test.
I know there is
Because
for
there's blood
alcohol.
work.
You can blow. You can blow
I
into
know
a
my
machine
hu-
for
yeah.
alcohol, but I don't know for
I know my husband worked narcotics, and he
your
said,
eyeballs.
He said you could
Yeah.
tell, like, there's certain
Certain
Yeah,
cues.
your eyes bounce
Yeah.
if you're
But-
on.
but then-
on
but
your
then you
pupils.
could
And then
be-
people dilate. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could be on medication. I mean, there's people that have
There's
gone
certain
out and did the
medication-
road
diabetic,
test.
certain diabetic medications.
Road test, and their equilibrium is just naturally off, or they're diabetic or whatever. And sometimes you have strange
Reactions to it.
reactions
Yeah.
to things like you are with this commercial.
Just Between Us, a spontaneous, intuitive live television show with topics that are intended to inspire, delight, educate, and encourage.
Welcome back, 223-4877 if you want to get a hold of us. If you want to fax us, it's 223-4866. Or you can email us at bookme@tspntv.com. Sarah, thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
being on the
Yes, yeah, it
panel
was
with
fun.
us today.
Yeah.
Now you know what it's like on this side of the
I know,
this
it's
side of the
different.
cake. It's much different.
Yeah.
It's much, much different. And Missy, thank you so much again for co-hosting.
Oh, I appreciate it. It was fun. I actually had time.
You did a great job. You and Jackie did a great job together. You did a great interview.
Yeah, well, I like tomatoes.
Yes. And radishes. And Jackie's fun. She's
Oh, she
fun
is.
to interview because she's very interesting. She's got all kinds of things.
Yeah, I've often thought of trying for Master Gardener, but I don't. I'm one of these. If I can't learn it that one day, I don't want to do it. I'm very
And
impatient.
she's so
I'm an
patient.
extremely
I mean,
impatient person.
she's a great baker, and
She does everything.
She does everything.
She does everything.
And I'm telling
Everything
you,
I can't do. I have a black thumb, actually.
I do too.
oh, well, let me tell you, that woman there can grow anything, and she could bake anything, and her baked goods are wonderful.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Give her a call, and please, have her bake you some. Her bread, her rolls, anything is just magnificent. If you're gluten-free.
And she's special, makes
Yeah.
special orders. And
Special orders, and she does tons of gluten-free stuff. So,
Does she do Weight Watchers?
no, I don't think there's no such thing. So we want to remind everybody, please, kids are going back to school Monday, Austin? So with the kids back in school, please be careful because they're running around like crazy and they don't think.
No wonder I saw so many kids at Walmart the other day in
Getting
the
their school
supplies.
supplies.
I'm still thinking, after Labor Day thing, but
No, that was in our day. Today, we got snow days up here too. Anyway, goodbye. Bless all of you, and please support our troops and support everybody in Amador County. We'll see you next week. Have a good week.